What's up, guys? It's me, Sean Heron, with the Heron Realty Group, brokered by Epic Realty. A lot of guys have been asking me lately, hey, Sean, how do we do a CMA? And so I'm going to make a quick video here, and I'm going to get a little detailed. I'm going to try not to make it too long. But the first thing you need to do is log into your MLS. This is your MLS with Sabor. You should be familiar with that. If not, we can talk about it later. But when you get logged in and you're in your account and you can see your information, I want you to scroll down to the tools, resources, and links. There you will see a tool called Realtor Property Resource, RPR. So click that, and it's going to present you with the CMA page. Not necessarily CMA page, but the RPR page where you can create your CMA. So if you're thinking about doing a CMA on a subject property and you're like, well, where do I get started? Super easy. You're simply just going to type the address into this box right here, this input field. See, it says location. So simply put, I've already looked it up, so I've got the address right here, 109 Ranger Point, Atkins, Texas. You click that in there, and it'll pull up some default information. And we can collect a lot of information from this page to learn about the property. We know that they've got a guess at 700 grand. We know that it's almost 3,000 square feet, and it's on an acre and a half of land. Nice property. You can go through it and read through all this and find out all kinds of information about the property. But for this example, we're just creating a CMA. So you can make the CMA by pressing up here under property information on this blue bar, or you could scroll down and you'll have the option here. Either one is fine. I'm just going to press this one because my finger's closest to it. So that page is going to load up. And I want you to pay attention to this. You see these numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the steps that you need to make a CMA. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to leave everything the same. We're going to do the comparative analysis, and we're going to edit the home facts. For you, if it's the first time, this will be a big blue button. Since I've already gone through and did it as to check it out and make sure I know everything is going on, we're just going to press the edit button. And so you can see here that this is where all the information is about the house. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. Now, the information wasn't provided here, so I just guessed since we're just doing a training example, and I just put 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. This is where you go and you update information. So let's say that, it says it's 2,982 square feet, but you actually find out that there is an add-on, and they did all the permits, and there's actually about another 700 square feet attached to the house of livable space. You could put that up here appropriately so, and that'll modify the information about the property. That is step 1. So let's confirm the facts and close. Now we're going to go to step 2. Step 2 is searching for comps. This is the part that's the most involved. This is the part where people get hung up, where they get intimidated, and they're not really sure what to do. It is super easy, folks. First thing we're going to do is just hit find comps. You have to excuse me, the allergies are really bad today. So here's step 2, finding comps. And what I want you to do is pay attention to the information on the screen. This property summary is your property that you're researching. You'll always be referencing this. Always I'm scrolling up the top to make sure I'm not doing that incorrectly, putting in the wrong square footage. You have a couple panes here of information that's important. The property type and property status. Property type, pretty self-explanatory. No, we're not looking for farms and ranch. No, we're not looking for duplexes. No, we're not looking for condos. We're simply looking for single family homes. Just a typical house on a patch of land, real nice and pretty. That's what we're looking for. But you got to remember, we're not just looking for anything. We want to compare apples to apples. We want to compare properties to our property that are extremely identical. And we can get that information by looking at the property status. Active for sale, pending, active under contract, closed. What I like to do first is just search for the closed properties. In the off-market date, we want to put closed within the last 3 months. When you hit this pull down, you can get last week, last month, 3 months. 3 months seems to be fairly successful in finding comps. If you can't find comps within the last 3 months, go ahead and kick it down to 6 months. If all else is going wrong, try 12 months. I really don't do 18 months because the market was probably different than it is today 18 months ago, and it may manipulate your information in a way that's incorrect. For example, using old data to mark the price of the property as it would have been 18 months ago is not the same as it would be today, right? It's a different market. So let's go ahead. Let's leave that at 3 months. Now, something else I want you to pay attention to are these little check boxes. Everything that's checked is what it's going to use to search for the properties that you're asking for. So if you have these unchecked and you just have the living square feet, it's just going to pull me up properties that are within this map that match this criteria. But for yours, we're going to scroll up to the top again. And I like to go 100 square feet lower and 100 square feet greater. So I'll go down here to square feet and I'll put 2,800 square feet. And up here, I'll put 3,000 square feet. It's real difficult to find comps out of the exact same square footage. Even with all the new builds, they all still vary a little bit. But we're trying to capture everything that's like your property within this range, 2,800 to 3,000 square feet, which is pretty narrow. Also, remember that this property is on acreage. So what we want to do between, yeah, that's fine. And I'm cool with that, but I'll just kick it up to 2 acres. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes we won't get anything. Let's see if we get lucky. Let me explain this map before I hit the button. So this map is a map. Pretty awesome, right? You can zoom out by using the buttons here for the plus and minus sign. Minus sign is zooming out. Plus sign is zooming in appropriately. I want you to pay attention to these other data fields here. Draw shape, use custom area, use geography. I normally just draw the shape. I'll zoom out to where I'm comfortable. I'll draw a shape. And I like to do the polygon because I notice that these properties aren't the same when you cross the highway. And the highway can greatly affect the value between properties. Almost think of it as like the good side of the tracks and the bad side of the tracks. That's not necessarily accurate for all cases, but as a good practice, I don't like to look on the other side of the highway. I like to look in the general area where the house is, and then simply click search this area. Oh, we found no comps. And it happens. So now, since we can't find any comps that are within 2,800 to 3,000 square feet on an acre and a half of land, let's see if we can do, by pressing modify search, let's see if we do within the last 6 months. See if we get some business. Nope. Close. Let's modify the search again and kick it down to 12 months. Hopefully we get something. Cool. We got one awesome comp that has no information listed. Not very helpful at all. So what do we do next? There's a couple things that we can do. We can continue to manipulate this data here. Maybe put in some bedrooms or something like that. Or maybe increase the square footage. Maybe we could say 3,200 to 2,500. Just to get an idea of what things are selling around you. And then search, see what that pulls up. Hey, great. We got some things. Right? So you can quickly see here that this one closed. Right? Let's look up here. Days in the system. It was in 207 days. Here's the address. Here's the date that it closed. Here's how much it closed for. Here's the average per square foot. And then you just use the information appropriately. So this one looks pretty good. I mean, it's not exactly butted up against there, but we could always click the link and it'll open up in another browser and you can click through the pictures and see the condition of the home to compare apples to apples. Let's see if we can find something else in here that's a little better. Nothing, huh? Of course, it's always this way. All right, so it doesn't like the map, right? Well, we can't force it. We just can't make stuff up, right? So we're going to have to mess with this map. So let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. And let's do shape draw. We'll do the polygon again, and we'll just make the AOR bigger. Area of responsibility that we're searching in, we'll make it bigger, and just try to really capture a lot. We'll just get this geographical area that's inside these highways appropriately. I told you the video wasn't going to be long, and we're going to spend all of our time searching for comps. Search this area. Boom, we got a couple more. So you get the idea. You go through, you compare apples to apples. We're looking for homes that are within really close range to this square footage and this acreage, so we could see how much they sold for. We could simply click this and get some more details on it. And see that this one is, it's fairly close. We could go through the pictures and see that it's nicely upgraded. It has a pool appropriately, so forth and so on. So let's say we pick some comps, right? We're not going to sit here and over scrutinize these because we got to get the show on the road. And this is an example to show you how to use the product. I'm just going to go through and click some things. Okay, we'll do 772, 7710. And without scrutiny, I'm just throwing some comps in there. I like to get about 4 good comps. What I also like to do is I like to see what the competition's doing. So we could go through and do active for sale and pending and see if that gives us anything. And let's kick this down to the last 6 months, because the more closer to the present we get, the more accurate it is. Good, we got some good stuff up here. Let's see if any of these are active. Here we go, active for sale. This one's listed for $739, about same square footage. Let's see if it's on half an acre of land. And it's about 1.5 acres. This is actually a pretty good comp. So let's go back and we'll select that one. Now I like to see what the other realtors are doing, because I like to tell the client, this is your competition. And they're trying to sell theirs at $339. So when somebody's out here looking for property with at least 1.5 acres, they're going to look at your house, and they're going to end up looking at this house. Whose house do you think they're going to pick? Now, granted, one may have a pool, one may be nicer, one may be in better condition, so forth and so on. But everybody wants a deal. So you always want to be not the most expensive property in the neighborhood, because that takes a long time to sell. So we've done our analysis. We've gone through and we've picked some comps. And now we're going to update the valuation and close. That was step 2. Now we're going to go at step 3. This is where we can adjust the comps. And it lays it out nicely for you. You can look at the pictures of each property and go through and scrutinize and take a look at those and figure out which ones you think are better than the others. So how do you mark that? How do you make that scrutiny? How do you include that into your analysis? Well, you can simply do this by using these little bars down here. You can adjust them. And like it states, to the left means the property is better. Sorry, to the right means the property is better, and to the left means the property is worse. So you can see as I adjust it, it's taking money off. If this one's better, it's doing the same thing. It's subtracting 32 grand. I slide it this way, and it's adding this value to your subject property. So let's say I just make this one just a little bit better. You'll see that it's subtracted $8,000 off of what it thinks the price of your property is, the subject property. And we're happy with that. We feel like we've marked that accordingly. And let's say we've done the same for everything else, and let's just make this one a little bit worse. So you can see how comparing these homes to each other has manipulated the data to get a more precise market value based off of what has sold and closed with the bank, and then appropriately, there should be, in the next arrow, and we should be able to do the same with these as well. This one is the same, this one is a little worse, and this one is a little better. And then it'll go down and say, hey, your property is worth about 750 grand. That's a fair price based off the comps. It's not a personal opinion. We used analytical data to forensically find the price of our property so that we can list it competitively and not overprice it. Because when you overprice properties, they sit on the market for a long time, and it's got your name on it, and everybody's like, man, that realtor has been trying to sell that property for months. I don't want to go through that on my property. I want a realtor like Sean Heron that's going to sell that bad boy fast AF. So now we got our value. We simply update valuation and close. Okay, great. So now we've got the review of our comp analysis, and now we can create the report. Now remember, we're doing a listing. So I like to do the seller's report. When I'm doing a buyer's report, or I just do when I'm doing for buyers, I just do the property report. But for sellers, it has a lot of information in there, more than you need, full of pie charts and bar graphs, everything you need to make you look like a real estate wizard. You could customize it as well. We're talking about the seller's report. Please take note. It's 81 pages worth of information. So you're going to want to trim some of that stuff out. You're definitely not going to want to print it out. You're probably going to end up emailing it to your client. I like to go to the customize button. And you can see here, these blue check marks is everything it's going to add into your report. And then it shows you what it kind of looks like, right? So let's think about this. Does the seller care about the market activity? Well, sure, he wants to know what's being sold in his neighborhood, right? Does he care about your comps? Absolutely. He's going to want to see your logic and your reasoning. Does he care about all the active listings? Nah, probably not. He just wants to sell his house. Same with the pending. He probably doesn't care about what has recently sold and the market activity for distressed properties. All of these types of data are irrelevant for your seller. They are good for you as the realtor, so you can refine your knowledge base and sharpen your tools and be able to think on your feet and talk competently if they ask you, well, what's going on in the market? What's going on with these expired ones? I know the guy down the street had one for sale. He said he didn't sell it. Did you find out or see what was the problem with that? And you can look at this and be like, oh yeah, well, he had it listed way too high. Didn't want a price drop. Now he's took the house off the market and now he's trying to rent it. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody makes their own decisions about what they want to do. But I like to take out all this irrelevant data so I don't overwhelm my seller with information. Simply now, all we do is just hit run report. Now what will happen is it'll say, hey, it's generating the report, but it's going to take a few minutes. And you'll know it because that little orange dot up there is telling you that you requested a report today. And it's going to take a few seconds, and when it's ready, it's going to make a really loud doorbell sound, which will probably make your dog bark. Oh, perfect timing. And the dog didn't bark. That's good. And so now you get to see what the CMA looks like, right? It'll have a picture of the house. It'll have your information in there that you set up when you made your account. And it will include all information there. So, hey, the market value is 763. Your refined value is 779. Then you tell your client, I think we should sell the house competitively for 750. I think we can move it fast. While the other houses are sitting on the market for 8 months, ours at this price will probably start getting traction within weeks. And show them the report. If you're going to bring the report, if you feel like you need to print this out, the only thing I print out, front page, the second page, so I can talk about what I sold it at and what I want to sell it at. And then what I like to include is my own comps. So let me scroll through all these pie charts and bar graphs that make us look super smart. And we're just looking at comps selected by agent. I print this page out because what I do in my listing presentation is I tell them, hey, look, I went and got all the information. And my information is credible and good because it comes from the county. This is what is recorded for tax purposes. So it's not my personal opinion. It's not like, hey, I think I could do a really good job because I'm so good at real estate. Nope, I don't do anything like that. I tell them, hey, this house down the street sold for $728. This one sold for $772. This one sold for $710. And this one sold for $725. And I tell them, this one sold in May. This one sold in June. Now, we could price ours at this price, but look how long it was on the market. 207 days. Look how long this one was on the market. 36 days. Look how long this one was on the market. 63. These folks are finding success at these price points within a short period of time. That really tells us where we should be pricing our property as well. And you can't argue with data. And so people will see that. And they may still tell you, I want to list my house for $1 million. And you say, hey, fine. We can list it for $1 million. Seller, you make the price. I do the job. And it's my job to advise you and help you through the home selling process. But my recommendation is that we sell it for, whatever's smart. 772, because these guys got it done in 36 days. And that's a really good comp for you, Mr. Seller. I'll print that out and I'll leave that there with them. And that's it. I'll email them this big report so they can scroll through it and fall asleep. But it's a pretty easy process. We just talked about it. Went through the 5 steps. It literally guides you through the 5 steps. That second process of picking the comps is the hardest part of the entire process of the CMA. Make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Make sure you're not comparing a new build Perry home against a Lennar home that was built 10 years ago. You want to find as many similarities as you can, because the more similar the properties are, the better it is to reinforce that you were right about the value of the property. So there's that. If you have any questions, give me a call, send me a text, send me a message on Facebook. I'm Sean Herron with the Herron Realty Group, brokered by Epic Realty. This is how I do CMAs. Thanks, guys. Bye.